Hey, this is Jeffrey from SEO Ultimate Pro, and today I'm going to show you how to use this silo builder inside of SEO Ultimate Pro. Right now I'm in the modules page. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down just to make sure that I've enabled it. Now, when you do enable this, it will change your permalink settings to category/post name. And the reason it does that is for silos to work, it needs to have the main topic. After that, you're going to need to have categories under it, and then underneath those categories, you're going to have siblings, which are going to be posts. So if you have a current permalink structure that is not category post name, please realize that by doing so, by enabling it, it will change to that. After you've enabled it, you're going to go to Manage Settings. Once you do that, you can actually set, if you're going to use shortcodes, this is where if you were going to add a silo navigation on your page, you would actually use this shortcode. And in which case, you can actually determine how many posts or siblings you'd like to show. So if you have a category and you have 20 posts on the sidebar, then you would actually want to turn up to 20, just so that they would be visible. Also, if you'd like to enable excerpts below the links, you can actually copy this piece of shortcode in there as well. Now, you also have the ability to tweak these things in the widget area, but this is if you wanted to add it in your content in a template on the page somewhere in a builder, etc. You would actually add it that way. You could also add a title here. Like we always say something like quick nav or whatever you want. So you could add that title so that your menu heading would show there as well. If you wanted to have a blog roll on your front page to basically show what silos are available, you would click that. Other than that, let's go ahead and proceed to the manual silo builder. Now essentially, when you're here, everything starts with home. So under options, you have the ability to draft, publish, or delete. Draft is pretty straightforward. If you wanted to create posts but not actually have them active yet because you don't have content, then you could use draft mode. Now in this case, I'm going to go ahead and publish. I don't mind because typically what we're going to do is we can either publish and go back, add our content, publish again to refresh it, because I want them to activate. If you build silos in draft, the pages are there, but they're not active, so they won't really be treated like silos until they are enabled. So in which case, click home, click publish, and in this case, I'm going to create my silo 1. Now this is my main topic. After that, you click make it so. Next, you click down into silo 1 area, and this is where you would add your category. So if I wanted to add category 1, 2, and 3, for example, and I have it set to publish, I'm telling it that I would like to add categories to this topic or main silo. Click make it so, and it's done. Now, if I wanted to add any kind of supporting articles to my category 1, 2, or 3, I'm just going to do this. This is how I would do that, making sure that now I have the area selected that I'd like to add siblings to, and I click make it so. Now let's go ahead and go to the front end. Okay, and here we are. So as you recall, we created silo 1, category 1, 2, and 3. And you'll see that they are now on the sidebar in the quick nav. And the way that I did that is if you go over to your widget area, let's go ahead and open that in a new tab. What you'll need to do is you'll see the silo widget over here. And when you click and activate it, you put it where you'd like, in which case I've added it to the sidebar. Once you're inside the silo widget, you simply are going to give it a quick title, for example, like quick navigation or whatever you'd like to appear for this widget name. And then you can say number of pages to show. If you have up to 10 silos, they would show, for example, and the number of posts to show. So this is going to show the number of categories and or posts underneath the silo. You also have the option to use breadcrumbs, thumbnails, or excerpts in that sidebar region. But just to keep things clean, I typically don't enable those. Like I said before, if you have 20 siblings underneath a silo, then you would increase that number, in which case you click save. And now when you go to the front end, you would see this. And so as you can see, the nature of siloing is designed as thus. The scenario is you really want to make sure that you are ring fencing each post to maximize the effectiveness of the internal link structures. And what I mean by that is if I'm in a silo, I should only see the categories that are inside of that silo. Once I drop down into the category level, for example, then I will see the siblings that are associated with that category. the other categories in the silo above it. Once I drop into a supporting article itself, you'll notice that I only see the category that I am in that is actually creating that referential integrity back to that category. Once I click that category, all other categories are there. Now keep in mind, we did not add anything for 2 or 3, so there's no siblings for category 2 or 3, so I'm just seeing the parent and the related categories. And this really does create a very powerful effect for your internal link structures, where it sends the bots down a very specific path where you're essentially creating this spider bait that allows them to create this braid of activity and relevance. And so that's the idea behind siloing, and that's why we've created the quick navigation, so you don't have to think about it. If you are building things that are associated in a topic, for example, the red marbles in the red jar, blue in the blue, and green in the green, then you would simply create a container, and that's what your silo is. It's essentially a container for relevance that allows you to make sure that you're ring fencing that relevance and pushing power back up to the category, which is typically your market level term, like for example, cheap car insurance or whatever, and insurance might be your main silo. So that's the idea behind it. Once again, how we accomplish this is go to your dashboard, you go over to the silo builder, go to manual silo builder, you can see the relationship here. So you can, if I wanted to add additional supporting articles, for example, helps when you spell it correctly. Four and 5, and make sure that it's published. It's that simple. I don't have to go and create pages individually one by one, and that's the real power of this application. That now if I were to look at the front end again, and I'll just go ahead and go silo 1 from here. Now if I drop into category 2, you can see that I have supporting articles. So that's the power of it. It allows you to create an extremely intelligent site architecture that is SEO friendly, that is using what we consider that referential integrity, that's going to showcase the power of making sure that you're linking within your topic. And keep in mind, artificial intelligence can read your content. They understand the nodes of relevance. They know that if you're talking about a diamond, and if the word shiny's next to it, you're talking about a physical diamond. If it sees the word mitt or hot dog, it knows you're talking about a baseball diamond, between the hops and the words. And so you're just leveraging the fact that Google must always bend the knee to language, and you're building your site in a way that makes sense to your end user, but more importantly, sense to the bot, so that they can create more relevance for that content that you're braiding in there. All right, hopefully this makes sense. There is one more thing you can do, and you have the ability, for example, under the settings in the silo builder to, like I said before, you can insert your shortcodes. If you were going to just insert your shortcodes into your content somewhere, if you did not want to enable the widget functionality, say for example, you just want your design to remain clean, in which case, if you wanted to add that quick nav, you would change your menu heading here, and you would actually use these shortcodes on the pages that you would like to have the silo navigation appear, so you do not have to think about linking again. Also, what you can do is you can look at your silo styles. You can tweak a couple elements of the CSS, for example, here. You also have the ability to look at the export, so you can actually see the relationships itself. And if you were to click export silo map, this is what it looks like. So if you have a client, for example, you can say to them, hey, by the way, I really went back and implemented extremely theme relevant site architecture for you, and here's what it now looks like, so they can get it. It's an outline format, and they go, oh wow, I really understand what you did now. And in which case, if you have existing pages, what you would do is, for example, if you had an existing page that had the same name, you would want to take that content, copy it somewhere, delete the page, go back, build it out in the silo builder, and then you could actually build it in draft mode, go edit it in draft, paste the content back in, at least for your main topics, and then add your categories and supporting articles, and then move that content over that way. Or the second option is you could 301 redirect the old pages to the new silo locations. And if you need to know how to do that, we actually have a section or a video on how to use and implement 301 redirects with the file editor using SEO Ultimate Pro. All right, this is Jeffrey Smith. Thank you for listening.